The Senate will vote soon on its 11th hour deal to avoid a U.S. default. But the big question remains, will this deal get approved by the House as well?
Joining us now for information specific, late-breaking, Republican Representative John Fleming of Louisiana. He is a medical doctor. And Democratic Representative Jared Polis of Colorado. Join us. Gentlemen, good to see you. Breaking news. We are hearing from our own representatives inside the Beltway that it seems there are enough votes in the House to make this thing work. Dr. Fleming, I'll go to you first. Do you think the votes are there?
I believe they are, David. I believe that Democrats will fully support this bill. I think that there will be enough Republicans to support it. I personally will not vote for it. But I do think
let me just ask you that, Dr. Fleming. Forgive me for interrupting, and I know there's too much of that in television, but I understand you, by the way, we should mention, you were the Louisiana Family Doctor of the Year in 2007. You know medicine extremely well. You not only know it personally as a doctor, but hearing it from all your patients. I know how committed you are against the Obamacare as it stands, but was it worth shutting down the government in order to prove that point?
All I can tell you, David, is my district, my constituents say they're very much behind what I've been doing, what our caucus has been doing. They've been very supportive. They see that the shutdown is not a good thing, but on the other hand, they feel like the dangers of Obamacare, killing jobs, having skyrocketing premiums, and all the other things that we're seeing, the data platform, et cetera, rolling out, that's far worse. So that's what they have demanded that I do, and so I'm up here working for my constituents.
Well, you know, Representative Polis, I'll tell you what constituents start to believe in is money when they start to see the markets fall and they see their 401ks and 529s fall. Obviously, somebody woke up and realized you can't get to that point. But now what happens looking ahead? Because there's supposed to be bipartisan committee by December 15th, I believe it is, to get together and come up with some cutting. Where would the Democrats give in? In a way, you have to give them a little bit of a fig leaf, correct?
Well, again, I think what happened here is, the business community and, as you mentioned, investors really helped wake up at least enough Republicans to help Democrats govern responsibly, which with split government we can only do together. I think this is an example of how we can do together. But before we get too excited about this, we have to realize this didn't exactly accomplish anything. We're right back where we started. We still have the very serious budget discussions, the discussions of how to restore fiscal integrity to Social Security and Medicare. Frankly, I think this shutdown just delayed all those important discussions a few weeks.
Where would Democrats give an inch?
Well, I think everything is on the table. I think the president's position was he didn't want to have a negotiation under the threat or under a government closure. Now the government's reopened. Certainly the president in his budget had some entitlement reforms. Many House Democrats, including members of our pro-business New Democratic Coalition, have put everything on the table. If we can talk about tax reform, lowering the rates, broadening the base, talk about reforming and restoring the integrity of our entitlement programs, I think many Democrats are willing to engage in that discussion with like-minded Republicans.
Well, Dr. Fleming, I would argue that it's not a total win for the Democrats, if you will, that we're not back to square one, because the American people have been listening, have been watching, and the American people do count for something, and their information base has grown, particularly about what Obamacare was as it was rolling out these past 2 weeks. Do you think that the attention that has been put on Obamacare by Republicans, maybe they lost this battle, but did they win the war about Obamacare?
I think quite possibly you're right, David. What we're seeing is that this thing has ended in a stalemate, as you've pointed out. The budget caps and sequestration did not get busted. They're still there. That's something that Democrats, I think, would like to do something about. Obamacare was not taken out, and that's something, of course, that we would like to do. With each passing day, sequestration is embraced by the American people. With each passing day, Obamacare, I think, is going to be more despised by the American people as they experience it personally and as they lose their jobs and see their premiums skyrocket.
Well let me jump in there and give sort of a fair and balanced picture. Representative Polis, there are some small businesses who are getting hammered by the sequestration, ones that serve the government in all different capacities, whether it's services for certain departments of the U.S. government. They haven't been paid since July.
Well, I think the real question is why, if this is a stalemate and neither party gained, why the House Republicans in particular and some of the Senate Republicans chose to take us down this reckless Bronco ride that we've been on these last few weeks. We are back where we started. Yes, sequestration still exists. If we can replace some of those short-term cuts with a plan for fiscal sustainability and reforming our entitlement programs, we might be able to find a basis for
But I would also say this,
negotiation.
Representative Polis, the world didn't stop spinning on its axis when we endured sequestration. So doesn't that indicate that there are ways to slice back some of the spending, and if so, where?
Well, we are still in sequestration, to be clear.
Yeah.
The government shutdown is a much larger drag on the economy. It's quite possible we will have sequestration indefinitely. That's certainly a part of the discussion. And frankly, I would say that's probably the most likely scenario, is that sequestration budget levels.
And Dr. Fleming, as we were forced, or as you guys were forced, as the president was forced to decide between what was essential and what was non-essential, when you see that, say, 80% of the Commerce Department is deemed non-essential, maybe we should rethink whether the Commerce Department is essential.
Well, think about it. EPA, 93% of their employees were found to be non-essential. Look, we could cut way back and take out certain departments, but I do want to address one thing. Both sides understand that we need to deal with entitlement spending. That's got to be reformed. Both sides agree we can't do anything more in terms of cutting our discretionary spending. The problem is that the other side will not work with us. They talk all of these platitudes about entitlements, but never actually do anything. Even the first thing
that's not true. I mean, the president actually included in his budget that he presented,
but he always backs away on the goalpost.
Well, he put it out there. I mean, let's see what ideas you have.
Something tells me that this conversation, once we say goodbye to you, and we're thrilled to have you both, will continue, and we'd love for that to happen. So thank you both very much, Representative
John
Fleming and
Appreciate
Representative Jared Polis.